All right. So this video is about ride challenges. I think a lot of people don't realize that the ride challenges, they're really a scam. They're a scam in a few different ways. If you notice that down here, okay, this one is a $65 ride challenge. So if you do the 60 rides, you'll get $65, right? Now you look at the middle one. You do 70 rides, you're going to get 115. But if you look at the top one, if you do 110 rides, you get to 285. Now, here's the thing that you got to look at. On the bottom one, the 50 ride, the 60 rides right here. Why would you click on the 60 rides when you know that the middle one, if you just do, if you do the 70 rides, 10 additional rides, you get 115. But here's the thing, and this is the trick that they try to pull on y'all. This one right here. So why would you do the 60 rides for 65 when you can do the exact same 60 rides on tier 2? You can do the exact same 60 rides and you'll get paid $85 instead of this 65 for that 60 rides. But however, why would you take the middle tier and for the 70 rides, you're going to get paid, for this middle tier, and I do the middle tier and you do 70 rides and you get 115. Up here, if you do the 70 rides, you'll get 115 anyway. You see what I'm saying? They know that you're going to pick the top tier. Anybody that is educated enough, they know that you're going to pick the top tier. Not because it pays out the most, but if you do the same amount of rides, you know that you're going to get paid more money. The bottom tier, if you do the 50 rides, you get $50, but if you do the 60 rides, you get 65. But why would you focus on the 60 rides for 65 when you can click on the middle tier and do the 60 rides and get 85? So you're not going to click on the bottom tier. You're going to click on the middle tier. Same thing with the middle tier for the whole 70 ride. For the difference is the top tier, okay? Because 70 rides, you're going to get 115. But on the top tier, for 70 rides, you still get the 115. The difference would be the whole total rides. But so basically, you're not going to click on the bottom tier because that's 60 rides for 65, and you can do 60 rides and get paid 85. You're not going to click on the middle tier because for 70 rides, you get 115. But at the top tier for 70 rides, you still get the 115, and you have the opportunity, if you go for another 40 rides, to get another 170, making it 285. All in all, here's the big scam that people need to be aware of. When you click on either one of these tiers, you are giving Lyft the permission to overcharge passengers on your ride. And if you do not complete the ride challenge, they get to keep every last dime that you earned during the ride challenge. Understand that. Every dime that they overcharge passengers, they are going to keep it now. But you, by selecting this ride challenge, you're going to be giving them permission to overcharge everybody. And if you don't hit these numbers, they get to keep every dime you made during the ride challenge. I think a lot of drivers fail to realize what is going on, what is happening. I remember one particular time, actually it's happened twice, but one particular time I was really pissed off. I needed 2 more rides. I was inside of my last hour, I think maybe a little bit more than an hour to get the few rides that I needed. To complete the I think it was the final tier or my ride challenge. And I ran into, it was one passenger that they put the same address in as their destination. Same address. I went straight around the corner, and I realized once I made one turn, I made another turn, and then I got ready to make another. And I'm looking, I'm like, this dude put the same address for pickup and drop off in. And out of fear of me dropping and swiping off and trying to move on to the next one, out of fear of this person getting pissed off, saying, oh, I made a mistake. And at the same time, I ended the ride. Or right before I end the ride and say, hey, it's nothing that I can do about it. You have to request another Lyft. No matter what, I was looking at a deactivation. Because that person is going to be pissed off. It's not their fault or whatever. And if I don't end the ride right there, they're going to want to change or edit the stuff. And then even if I do end the ride, either way it go, I could have got deactivated because they're pissed off because they made a mistake. I didn't make the mistake. They did. So out of fear of that, I ended up telling the person, I was like, all right, well, you can go ahead and change it in the app. It was a big mistake. And the reason why it was a big mistake is because they went from just going right around the corner to going across town. It was 7 miles. So they wanted to go 7 miles across town and 7 miles back over here because they ordered DoorDash and they forgot to change the address because the address in the app was the same as the last time they placed the order. And so they had to go pick up their food because the DoorDasher dropped it off at the last address that they had in the DoorDash app and everything. So I ended up taking that person to do it. What do you know? The next rider that I had, it was the same similar information. They put in the wrong address. Then, and this was back before I didn't know how to operate the passenger app. And they were talking about, oh, my bad, this is not where I wanted to go. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, how does this happen? They, anyway, screwed up the whole ride challenge. I was pretty much pissed off. Another time, well, I'm not going to get on the other time, but hopefully you got the gist of what really happens here. Like I said before, and just to bring it out, just to remind anybody, that way you don't have to watch the video twice, is that if you do the 60 rides, you get paid the 65, which the reason why they set this all up like this is because you're not going to take that one, because you're going to end up taking the middle one, because instead of doing 60 rides for 65, you can do 60 rides for 85. That's why they have that set up like. But you're also going to look at the 70 rides and say, well, why sign up for that one for the 115 when I can sign up for the 70 rides for the same 115, and if I end up doing the 40 rides, I'll get the 170. So all in all, I'll get 285, and I'll get 285 for doing my rides. So they set it up like this so that the drivers will always end up selecting the top tier. That's their goal. Because again, like I said, you're giving them permission. There's a certain percentage of rides that they're going to overcharge so that they can pay you for the ride challenge. They're not going to take money out of their pocket or out of their cut from the rides that you are normally giving. They're not going to do that. They're overcharging these passengers to pay for this bonus that you may not even get. You know, when you calculate the total hours that you have in the ride challenge, you know how many rides you need to complete. And that's why when they're hitting up numbers that's like 200 rides, and all anything that you have to complete those 200 rides is only 4 days to do it, that's 50 rides a day. How many drivers are really crossing that 50 line mark to do 50 rides in a day? That's really hard unless there's some sort of event going on or an increase in ride requests. Otherwise, you're not really going to hit that 200 in those 4 days. Unless, again, you are doing more hours than usual, there's an event going on, new people have downloaded the apps or whatever. That's the only way that you're going to hit that 200 mark. And they know that based off of your market and you as a cherry picker, they know to set you out a ride challenge that will force you to start doing more rides. So how do I know that? I know that because if you look down here in, Let me show you right here down in the driver status box. If you look down there, I rejected 325 rides this previous week. Now, let's go back and let's look at last week. Last week, I was also rejected. I rejected a lot of rides last week. Last week, I rejected a total of 188. I only completed 31 rides. Now, we go a little bit further back, and what we're going to notice is on this particular week, I rejected 293 rides. Let's go back again. Another week again, I rejected 314, but I did, however, complete 104 rides. It only equated to me making $1,282. I believe that they did have quite a few bonuses that particular week. I do not drive, and I refuse to drive if there are not any bonus hours on these weeks. 180 rides were rejected. 56 rides were actually accepted. So again, they know I'm not doing a lot of rides. I'm rejecting a lot of rides. So they also know that when it comes down to the ride challenge, they know that if I pick one of these, I'm just giving permission for them to overcharge on rides. Now, I remember back when I first started doing this, I told Lyft, I was like, man, because I didn't even know about the ride challenges. And one day after about 3 months, I ended up seeing it. I'm like, wait, has that always been here? Have they always been offering me ride challenges? And I didn't know about it. So I started checking the app a lot more often. And I was grinding and trying to chase the ride challenges and everything. And sometimes I hit it, sometimes I wouldn't hit it. And I just ultimately found out what it was that they were really doing. But if you didn't pick a ride challenge, you wouldn't get one. Remember? Drivers that was doing this way before me, they noticed that they wouldn't get a ride challenge if they didn't pick a ride challenge. Now, I missed my ride challenges sometimes, and it started annoying me because I just couldn't remember to, click on one. And then, not only that, but also based off of me missing out on it, I figure, a lot of drivers are missing out on those ride challenges. So I ended up calling Lyft, and I talked to one of the representatives, and I told him, I was like, I don't understand why it just doesn't default. If I usually click on the top tier, why not throw me the top tier bonus or the middle tier or the lower tier, at least one of the tiers, because I like some other people may have a life and I don't get around to going on the app, but I might actually go on the app if I knew that there's a bonus, or when I go on the app, I see that I have a ride challenge. So I ended up talking to them, and now if you don't select the ride challenge, usually it will default and just give you a ride challenge. When I ended up realizing what they were really doing with these ride challenges, I was like, that's why they listened to me. They found an opening. They knew that if they just force one on people, no matter what, it gives them the right to overcharge for those bonuses and everything. And now I'm pissed off to the point where I'm like, you can't force me to just have a ride challenge or anything. However, at the same time, and I can't prove this one, so don't hold me to it, I believe that when they do give you a ride challenge, if you don't hit those numbers, but let's just say instead of making 100 rides that week, you did 80 and they overcharged on all those, the whole 80 hours, they overcharged on all of them, right? Now, the following week, you're going to end up seeing more bonus hours because they're trying to pay you back the money that they had earned from the overcharges. Well, a percentage of it. Or they have no intentions on doing it. But because you don't drive that often or you cherry pick a lot, what they end up doing is they end up offering you higher bonus hours. So instead of you getting $3 bonus hours, you see $8. Instead of you seeing $3, you see $5 or $4, $6, whatever the case may be, because they owe you money. And that also should allow drivers to realize something. wait, so they overcharge on my passengers and they're actually gonna pay me back my money, but instead of them just cutting you a check or them just add money to your Lyft Direct account, they don't do that. They just offer you bonus hours. So you end up with more bonus hours than what most drivers would end up with for the week. All right. And so for me, I know that my week is going to be good if I go and I scroll down and I see that the opportunities that particular week is usually around the 50 or 60. I look forward to 60 hours of bonuses throughout the week. I look forward to weeks like that. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why I look for high bonus hours each individual week, it would be because I know that I'm only going to have a good month the more bonus hours that I have. I'm only going to have a good month. And the beginning of last year, I had it started off good. And that's because I left Toledo and I went to Michigan and I lived in my car while I was in Michigan. And so I drove in Michigan in January, February. I think I came back to Ohio in March. And then I went back out to Michigan in April, May, and June. All right. And at the beginning of the summer, I ended up being in Toledo. So as you can see, June, July, 3,000, August, 3,000, September, after the summer had ended, I went back to Michigan for a few weeks and I made 4,900. Came back to Ohio and I made 2,000, 3,000, and 3,000 during those months. So if I want to make over $3,000, my best in a month, my best hope is to go to Michigan and drive there. That's the only time that I'm going to make over 3,000 in a month. Now, in some of these cases, I didn't work I wasn't online 120 hours a week. Sometimes it was 40, sometimes it was 60. Even though I was sleeping in my car, I would oversleep sometime. Yeah, in the wintertime, in the freezing cold, myself was knocked out in my car. Yep. Now, this particular year, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, man, I don't know if I should go back to Michigan. Reason being is now I'm at 187,000 miles on my car. And so I'm thinking like, okay, well, I don't want to go to Michigan in this car, especially because my all-wheel drive is not engaging. And I have had my transfer case that's filled up. I did have that done, but I think that it probably had went dry, and that's why it's not engaging. And so right here, I believe this is my issue that I'm having, a damaged differential case. Damaged differential. It's a square box. I think it has wiring inside of it or whatever, and I think that's why it's not engaging, because I can hit the button, the light doesn't even go on, and I'm not seeing it on the dash, the all-wheel drive engaging. And so I don't want to be out in Michigan in the wintertime because it could be a lot of snow, and then I can't, I'm sliding all over the place and everything like that. I think my car, I want to say, is I drive a 2018 Chevy Equinox, and I'm not even sure if it's front wheel or rear wheel drive. Usually when I buy cars, it has to be rear wheel, but I might have bought this one not paying attention whether it was rear wheel or front wheel, because it was all-wheel drive. And I didn't know about the whole transfer case fluid and the differentiator and all of that stuff or whatnot. So, and I could probably do it myself, but I know it's not easy to get to. It's an easy thing to take off, but it's just not easy to get to it. But that is going to affect whether I go into Michigan or if I just use a rental. I'm kind of interested in how much it would be or how much I can make by using Turo, which I was planning on using Turo and getting a car because I need to take my daughter back to Mansfield, Ohio. And then I was planning on coming back here and trying to make some money, stack up for the rest of the month in January. And then I was going to go and drive my Equinox out to Michigan and get a rental through Turo and go throughout the week, seeing how much I can make with an EV. But in my market, they have it's only one EV that they have, and unfortunately I'm not able to oh snap, I might try to go, well no, that's gonna be all the way at Romulus, Michigan. I don't know if I want to drive out to Romulus. I don't have anywhere to park my my Equinox. But usually in my market anyway, in the Toledo market, they have a there's a Tesla. And I was actually going to book it today. I went to the bank, but I sat there and I called my son. I had to talk to him. And then I was supposed to deposit money in my account. And I sat there, talked to him, and then I ended up driving off and I left. And I forgot all about booking the EV. I forgot all of that stuff. And I ended up leaving there, and it wasn't until after we start watching the movie and everything that I realized that I didn't book it. And now when I go on the app, it's not showing the car is available. And just like right now, I just went and I selected the electric, and the nearest electric is showing that it's all the way in Romulus, Michigan. So out near the airport. And I would like to go ahead and drive out there and everything like that, but I mean, where am I going to park the car? Where am I going to park my car? That's what I'm concerned about. So even though I would love to go out here and go and get this EV, because I am interested in a Mustang Mach-E, and so I would love to go out there and get that one. But like I said, if I did that, then it's gonna again, I don't have anywhere to park my car, so it doesn't really make any sense for me to drive all the way out there to get that. So it's saying $130 a day. Currently, right now, I have it only on for the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, well, part of the 8th. You know, but I would be able to actually drive it 3 whole days and pull off 12 hours a day, 36 hours. And if I do the 36, and with the 36 hours, it average about $28 a day. I mean, $28 an hour with the 36 hours, then I'll make $1,008. Now, even though you see on a Turo that it's $130 a day, and it's showing that the total amount that I would pay right here will be $390, it does say excluding taxes. And so once we go on here, we'll see how much they're going to actually pay me. I mean, how much I'm going to pay for the rental. So the rental would cost me $390, and the trip fee is $82. And it has unlimited miles, which is good. But my total payout that I would have to pay for those 3 days is $472. But that's not the end, because you want to be able to add the insurance plan. And if you go with the minimum changes the price to $542. If you go with the standard changes the price to $628 for those 3 days. So I know that it's possible to do around 3, but not so possible to do around 4. And $400 in 3 days, that's $1,200. I'm gonna make $5 something off of the rental, but also I have to charge the rental. So it really doesn't make any sense to pay $600 and something to get that rental. I need to stay, and my goal, at least in 3 days, would be around about $300. $400 be pushing it, but maybe about $400 is what I would go for. But like I said, the best thing to do would be actually doing 3 days. Now, the person that is renting this only has completed 17 trips, $369. Now, again, this person, it says that they have a 4.69. It's been 17 trips. That's a horrible rating, but the account has a 5-star rating. I don't think a lot of people really notice that, the difference on the rating. I don't know if it's the writer's total rating came out to 4.69, or if it's the actual count of the person that's renting, because it says 5-star here, but I'm not understanding why it said 4 point the rating that it has over to the left hand side where it's saying 4.69. So that's weird. It just seems like, as far as whoever is renting this, which it looks like it's a dealership, they're the ones that's renting this, and the rating that they have given to those passengers have overall came out to a 4.69. That's my assumption. Then looking down here, it says 4.69, 13 ratings, and everything has 5 stars on here. And so I'm not really too sure where that 4.something9 rating came from. My guess is it came from Turo, because it says that the host canceled that trip, the host canceled that trip, the host canceled this trip, and then it says I got stuck in Philadelphia due to a flight delay, and it caused me not to make it to the customer to deliver the vehicle. So that was their explanation on that one. But let me see. Let's go down to see more. See more, I'm noticing, again, it's all of the ones that have left reviews, it's been a 5-star rating. So, and then it says rating and reviews, 4.69. So my guess that at least what I'm looking at is that this is the rating that Turo has given the driver. I mean, the host. The host, the rating for the host, and see, that's the thing. Like, again, what we're looking at when we look at the profile, when we go back and we look at the beginning, we see the 4.69, right? So we're looking at the 4.69, but at the same time, all of the people who have gotten in the car, all of them have given 5 stars. So that, again, that's what makes me believe that the 4.69 is what overall it's coming from Turo. But I know when it comes down to me renting, I guess I'm a little bit funny, because I'm looking for a car where I'm not gonna go. I definitely don't want to go too far over 500, and I prefer if I can make $2,000 a week. If I can make $2,000 a week between renting the car and charging it, and it ended up costing me $1,700, but $700, but I end up making $1,300 after expenses, then that's cool, because I'm not worried about depreciation, maintenance, and all of that other stuff. So I'm cool with $1,300 a week after the rental costs being $5,200 a month. I'm cool with that. Now, between food and everything else, and I would guarantee that I'll be driving 7 days a week, so food cost plus cigarettes and energy drinks in a month, $1,050. So that'll end up being $4,150. I have to do the math again, and maybe I need to stop smoking if it's gonna take that much money out of my pocket. But again, me living in my car for those few months, $4,150, right? So me living in my car for a few months, then that is gonna end up being good money after the cost of the rental. So if I stay in my car and I drive, we're already in January. So let's look at February, March, and then all of April, those 3 months. So if I was to do those 3 months and I saved $12,450, that would be perfect, because I have everything that I need to start my own detail business. I would probably just get a better steamer than what I have now, and then also get a aftermarket hose, which for some reason the steamer hoses, they cost like $2 something for long hose, because right now I think that's a Vac Master and everything, but yeah, I have to get a longer hose. I mean, the one that I have right now, some people buy vac masters just to have the hose, and the vac master itself, they set it to the side because you can get one for about 180. Sometimes a little bit less. It depends on the model that you get. Mine, it is an extractor, and it is a vacuum, and it has a connection where you can use it as a blower. But I have a compressor. I use that. I'm probably gonna end up getting a bigger one, but like I said, I use that compressor. I wouldn't use the compressor coming from the vac master itself. It's just pointless. It's not gonna push out as much air. And I got a tornador and everything, so I'm good. I have other equipment and everything and whatnot, but I do need to get a generator that is going to be a good one that pushes out the amount of watts that I don't need to use, because sometimes my son will help me. And if I'm using the vacuum and I'm using the blower at the same time, I want those to go at the same time. Now, normally I'll be pressing down with the air hose and loosen stuff up. But if I run the vacuum at the same time, I'm likely to cause it short. I know I do at home, and I have to turn the reset the outlet. And that's the thing with the with generators. You're using so much electricity at the same time, and so you got to be careful because you might not be able to run multiple things at the same time. It depends on how powerful the generator is, and that's what I gotta figure out right there. But nevertheless, it's not a game breaker or anything like that. But the main thing that I know I want to get a generator, and I also want to get a water tank, something that is my thing is what I was looking at that I would like to have is at least a 30-gallon water tank. And I was gonna put everything in my Equinox. That's why I want to keep the miles that I have, because I have 187,000. So I'm good for at least another 13,000, technically more than that, about 56,000. But I mean 53 or 56,000. But I don't want to keep doing this, not in this car, and I can't afford another car. Now, if I was to do this right here, I could probably get another car with that money. Or I can just focus on my own actual business. And me putting signs on my car, I'm gonna have people that want me to, they see the signs and they're like, cool, man, let me hit up dude. But even with me doing rideshare, I would still do this vehicle after I get signs made and put it on the vehicle. So whether I get a new vehicle or it's just this one, I'll have signs made. But primarily, I want to kind of retire this vehicle, keep it, get some things that need to be done on it, get that done, and then keep this vehicle for a little while, and then hopefully save up for a van, get that, and start doing the mobile detailing out of there until I can save up enough money to get a shop. But hopefully, the word to get out around me about the kind of work that I do, to when I do open up a shop, it's really easy to create that business, more business and people stopping in. But another thing I don't know if I want to do, I feel like I would make more money doing detailing if I was in Michigan versus being out here in Ohio, because Ohio, you don't find too many mobile detailers. I've actually came across two since I've been out here riding about. I've come across two. One of them, no signs, no nothing, is actually a guy that's retired, and he hooks people up and stuff. They pay him for the detailing and everything, but he doesn't charge a whole lot. It's again, he's retired. He just likes doing it, but it's not something that he needs to do to earn an income. It's just something that he likes to do. Everything. So again, and I gave him my business number. He's an old guy, he's retired, he don't want to be out here doing this that much, but I definitely don't want to do this during the winter time, and it is a pain to do it during the summertime because people, they're gonna have their cars outside. So you pull up to a location, the car is burning hot. Yeah, you're gonna wash it and it's gonna drop the temperature, but I mean, literally, you can only do one panel at a time, especially if you have a job where you're trying to buff the car and you're trying to, you got to buff the car. You can't do it when the temperature is too high on the car. And if it's in the direct sunlight, it's going to be a problem. But I plan on getting a tent and everything, and that way I can stay I'll be in the shade for one, and then two, the car will be in the shade. But I still have to drop the temperature before I actually start doing any exterior work. Interior work, the car is going to be hot. So I need fans that will be blowing at the same time. That also means that I do have to have a powerful generator, because I have to run the fans off the generator while I'm in the car blowing or wiping the car down, whichever one. It all needs to be done and everything. So, and hopefully my son will be doing this stuff with me. But sometimes I'm gonna have to be doing it while he's in school. But after school, he can come and help and everything. So that's the goal. My whole purpose of starting a business is legacy. I want to have a operational business that if something happens to me or my kids can eat off of. But I want them to, one, know the business. And then two, like I said, if something happens to me, then they can take over the business. If they decide they want to sell it or whatever, then they can sell it. But like I said, it's all about having some sort of legacy, for my kids. Hey, if I live to be really old, at least I have a business that's running and operational. The only thing I have to do is deal with my management and everything. I mean, I still would deal with my customers or whatnot, but I only have to deal directly with the management to make sure everything keeps on running smooth and everything. But I know that in that business, especially if it's easy for people to go. A lot of people that come in, all right, especially if they know your story. A lot of people that come in, they're going to be coming in to learn so that they can start their own mobile detailing business. I mean, you can learn off of YouTube, but you need that physical experience and that knowledge that comes from skilled people. Well, think about that. They get that knowledge, 6 months, year and a half, they're ready to go ahead and get into their own mobile detailing. I want to be a guy that establishes them, help them know exactly what equipment to get and everything. I'll front your business. Give me 10%. Give me 10% and I'll help you build that business. I may have it to where anybody that comes in and they want to work for me, I may have a contract for them that states that if you were to go and be independent, then you would need to also pay 10% of that business would come back to me. And I will have in the contract that, when you exceed a certain amount of profitability, then my amount will reduce. It's where it's basically going to always stay the same. No matter how much money you make, what I make is still going to stay the same. They don't have to worry about that. But again, it's that kind of work that you are training somebody to be your competitor. Same thing with a mechanic. You're training somebody to be your competitor. Nobody works for a mechanic shop for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Or no, if you are, you drinking too much. You getting high too much. You are making enough money and you should be building up your credit. You should start your own shop. It's a trade. Same thing with carpentry. You can start your own business. So for me, my best thing, because you're going to be my competitor at some point. I mean, I can't copyright the shit that I treat you to do. So the best thing I could do is to run a contract, and I will be able to actually fund part of your startup. Meaning, I'm going to be getting a residual from your business. So yes, I would invest $5,000 up front into your business. And it's going to be infinite residual that I get from that business, that 5 or 10%, it may start out 10% till I'm paid back 5% exceeds that point. So technically I got a small or somewhat of a franchise going on. But again, like I said, when you're dealing with a trade, you're dealing with a skill and everything, whatever, you're training people to be your competitor. Plain and simple. Unless they are ignorant, they're in the drugs or in the alcohol, then they probably never will be your competitor. But 9 out of 10 outside of that, yes, they will be your competitor. And I don't care if you in, and that's why a lot of these places, they also state that you if you decide to be independent and you decide to start your own business, well, you can't open up shop within a certain mile radius. See, that's what they go for. I want us to be a business together. And even if you do better business to me and you end up putting me out of business, I still got my 5% coming in from you. So if I go through 30 guys in 10 years, I got 30 businesses that I'm making 5% interest off of. I'm still going to be able to cover my bills. I'm still going to be able to, retire. I'm still going to have money coming in. That residual will be coming in indefinitely. Everything. So, and my contract will be whether you're in state or you leave and go to another state, I will still be able to get that 5%. It's going to be up to a certain amount of time, I guess. Maybe it'll be 10 years, maybe it'll be 20 years, but it'll be from the start of that, not the start of the business, but the start of the time that I start collecting. So let's just say I don't collect from you for, that first year. So it's 10 years after that, or indefinitely, whatever. Or I might say, 5 years or X amount of months. Let you build your stuff up or whatever. Or I might, but again, the reason being is because I don't want to run out of money. So if I'm training 5 guys every single year that end up starting their own business, by the time I end up retiring, I got this one guy, it's 10 years, this guy, it's 9 years, this guy 8, this guy 7, this guy 6. It'll all bring in revenue stuff. But I would do the same thing if I was a carpenter. I'm have my own body shop. Everything would be, I need money coming from everybody, because I already know I'm training you to be my competitor. So I'm gonna make sure I got some sort of money coming out of your pocket, coming in my pocket because of that. But generally, the common contract that people have is that you can't start your business within X amount of miles inside of certain trades like carpentry, electricity, and so forth. But anyway, this video, a lot of people probably aren't going to make it to this part of the video, but if you have made it to this video, the first part of this video is what I really want you to really consider and think about. The whole thing with the ride challenges. And the same thing with Uber and the promotions. Appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe to be all kinds of content coming soon.